Hi, this is a quick how-to on the Pilates Spine Curl. So the Pilates Spine Curl is one really good for spinal articulation, which just means building flexibility in the spine because you move it sequentially from the lumbar spine to the upper mid back. But it's also a really good one for building strength through your glutes and your hamstrings. Those are the primary muscle groups targeted. They're bringing your hips up into an extension, and your glutes and your hamstrings and your back line are the muscle groups responsible for hip extension. So a really good well-rounded exercise for building that all-important strength, really good for protecting the low back. The important thing to remember in the spine curl, when you're spine curling up, is to think about, pressing evenly into both feet. So think about that triangle, base of the big toe, base of the little toe, and then that line back to the heel. So it's that inverted triangle. So try and spread the weight evenly across all those parts of the feet. Keep the legs parallel, so watch for any rolling in or rolling out, and then try and move through it nice and smoothly. So if we just come down, bring your heels in line with your bum. So importantly in the spine curl, the heels should be kind of within touching distance. So you should be neutral, so have them to a point where you can kind of get into your neutral, whatever that looks like. But don't have them so far away that it's going to become a bit of an issue to hold the position. So the further the feet are away, the more challenging it is to hold the position, get up into the spine curl. So just think about that, play around with it, find the best position for you. And then before you do anything, of course, find your neutral. So we're always going to be moving from that nice neutral position in the spine. But just close your eyes down and think about that triangle on your feet. So really bring your awareness to the feet. Think of pressing down through the base of your big toe, pressing down through the base of the little toe. So you're activating the outer and inner edges of the feet. And then come all the way back to the heel and press down through the heel as well. So feel that evenness before you've even done anything else. Allow your collarbones to open to the sky. And then from neutral, you start your exhale, you start your scoop. So as you exhale, you're wrapping your abdominals side to side, back to front, to get that lovely base of support, little lift through your pelvic floor. And then at that point, use your abs to flatten the back into the mat. So we tuck in our tailbone, and then use press into those points on the feet. Engage your hips, engage your glutes, engage your hamstrings, and then wheel through that spine piece by piece. So you are opening the hips, that spine is lengthening. So imagine the back of the sit bones are kind of lengthening towards the back of the knees. You can lightly press into the arms, but not to the point where you're pressing and lifting the ribs. The rib cage stays tucked into the waistband of your leggings or your joggy bottoms, whatever you've got on, your shorts, whatever. And then when you come up, you can always check the two hip bones should be level, so you should be neutral. So you're coming up into the spine curl, you release back into neutral, fingertips are reaching, pressing into those toes, fingertips are reaching towards the feet, and then the legs are straight and parallel, so there's no rolling in or out through the feet. Again, think base of that big toe, really press into those mounds in the feet. Take a breath in at the top, and then melt the heart. So melt from the top of the breastbone. Imagine there's a wheel on your spine, and it's going to wheel that spine. Tip your pubic bone towards your face, flex your spine down, using those abs. It's all happening on the exhale, and then land in that spine piece by piece, and then you come back to your neutral position of the spine. So if you wanted to work up to it, if you're somebody new and you're maybe not quite there with that strength required to get all the way up into the spine curl, then the easiest way to break it down is to think of all those points I've just gone over. So through the feet, legs are hip distance and parallel, heels in line with the sit bones, are close in towards the bum. You are neutral in the pelvis, and think of just doing some little tucks of the tailbone. So using that breath, connecting that breath, keeping the ribs soft as you exhale. Draw that belly button in towards your spine, and then use your abs to just flatten the back. So this is just tucks of the pelvis. Try and isolate the pelvis, moving it around the head of the thigh bones. So really nice to start that mobility in the low back. So you can work to this level, and then if you're ready to move it up a notch, you can then just work with pressing, focus on that pressing down into the feet, tilting that pubic bone towards your face, so tuck in your tailbone, and then just press into the feet, engage the glutes, start to engage the glutes, start to wheel the spine up, but maybe just take it to the base of the ribs. Keep that eye gaze to the sky, keep relaxing the upper body, base of the ribs, and then just practice keeping that tuck of the tailbone, keeping those legs parallel, pressing into the feet, and then releasing back to neutral. So just work into the base of the ribs, use those glutes, press into those feet, play around with it, see how that feels for you. And then releasing back to neutral. Focus on bringing the two hip bones back even. Your little arch appears back, or your gentle curve in your low back. And then as you build the strength, as you feel a bit more confident and you've got everything kind of connecting, then you can start to press up and roll that spine. So think sequential movement through your spine. So lumbar spine, mid back, and then really just tips of the shoulder blades. Focus on dropping that rib cage. So keep that rib cage connected. Pressing down, base of the big toe, so strong through the feet. Think of the heels kind of almost dragging back towards the bum. So you're really pressing, lengthen that spine. So think back of the sit bones towards the back of the knees. And then just soften and wheel the spine back down. Again, sequential movement, so top, middle, bottom, releasing back into neutral. So to progress the spine curl, once you've got into that flow and you're feeling quite comfortable, feeling quite supported, you can then start to introduce things like the single knee fold. So the single knee fold being supporting yourself here in your kind of bridge or your top of your spine curl position. Again, focusing on pressing down to support yourself one-sided. So focus on pressing down to that foot, activating the bum, so your glutes, your hamstrings, to keep your hips open as you float the toes, so you can come onto the balls of the feet, and then you stack in the hips. So at this point, you're really focusing on that position of the foot, so those points on the foot, pressing up, using the glutes, keeping the ribs connected, and then hinging from your hip, bringing the hips back level, other side. So you're just stacking your knee over your hip, you're focusing on building strength through the one side, so really press down through that supporting foot. The 3 points, think of the 3 points on the ball of the foot, and then just bring the hip back down. Readjust each time, so don't rush it. Try and link in with the breath. You're always looking to keep those hip bones as even as you can, knowing that it won't be perfect and it's going to look different on everyone, but focusing on keeping the hips open. So in that hip extension, a little march of the legs, leaning just top of the spine so you can press into the backs of the arms. Arms are flat. A really good one for building that strength and lengthening out that spine. Good, and then from there, you can wheel yourself all the way back down to neutral. And that is the spine curl. Nothing to it really. Have fun with it. Remember, always take your time, play around with it, break it down, get everything together in your head, and then you can progress through all the different variations. I hope you find it useful. Have fun with it. I'll see you soon. Bye.